So yes, welcome along to the Groove Junction. My name's DJ Matty F, and I'm back for another episode. This week, there is a little bit more meat on the bones compared to the last couple of weeks. But, you know, I've got to have my holidays. You know I like my holidays, and I've been away. So, you know, I did a couple of little bite-sized ones during that period. And now we've got a mammoth one tonight. I've got a guest on the show. But before we get into that, I want to thank every one of you for keep popping back to the Groove Junction, logging on, putting comments in there, hitting that subscribe button, getting those likes up. Keep doing it, people. Keep doing it for me. Go and put a comment in there. And there'll be comments that you may want to put in relation to today's guests, but more will come. I'd like to thank Wolf Mix for always supporting the podcast, and also Pro Mobile Magazine as well for their support and love, as we do every week. Should we get into it? Should we get our guest on? Let's do it. So, as I mentioned, today's episode is going to be a good one. We've got Marky T in the building.
Hey!
There he is. If you're into tight mixing, proper crowd control, and building a name that actually lasts, you're going to absolutely love this episode. Marky T, welcome to the Groove Junction, sir.
Thank you for having me, my friend. How are we? All right?
I'm good, man, and it's great to have you on. You are a bit of a local legend from back in the day, I would say.
I don't know if I'd say legend, just old guy now. Probably that's probably what it would be.
No, we're gonna get massively into this in a minute, but I remember Marky T from the radio days of listening to him in sunny Essex, and for all our international listeners, it's a really, really nice place in the UK.
Beautiful.
It's a beautiful place, but Mark has spent many, many years on the radio and continues to do so, but we'll get into that shortly. Mark, firstly, welcome to the Groove Junction. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no. I want to get straight into this because I think there's going to be a load that we're going to talk about in this episode in particular. I want to know, because I know for a fact that you started DJing at a young age, but you actually went professional full-time in 2002. Now, that we've got listeners that weren't even born in, 2002.
I know it's scary when you do the clubs now and you're like, right, if he was born in 2005, you're like, what?
Yeah.
So it's weird for me because I've never had a proper job. I've got no background that are into it. It was my dad used to be in a band. That is it. He played the bass guitar. When I was 9 years old, I did my first ever birthday party, which is for my cousin, who was about 4 at the time. And I had a twin deck tape player system, and every Christmas and birthday I was asking for disco equipment. I don't know why, I just loved them. And my big thing was disco lights. I think maybe when I was 8 or 9, I can't remember, I got a set of disco lights from Tandy, the red, yellow, green, blue. I had that, and I had a tape deck. I never had vinyl. I did have vinyl, but not like twin decks. I used cassettes. Then went to CDs and then mini disc, believe it or not. And I was very fortunate that my parents allowed me to do parties for friends, family, friends, and it grew and grew. And then I left school, went to college, studied media, and then I became a full-time. I say more of an entertainer, and I became full-time in 2002. I used to pay someone to drive me around, and then in 2003. I was very, very fortunate I wrote a letter I used to go to Southend College, and I wrote a letter to Talk nightclub in Southend, and was like, look, I'm a local guy, I do this, and they brought me in for a night as a sort of freebie, and it went down really well. And then from that, they said to me in the summer, look, we've got a bar upstairs called Bar Blue. We want you to do alternative Thursdays in there. I was like, yeah, of course I can. I did
Nice.
that, and then I progressed to work downstairs. They moved me into their sister club, Dukes, and I worked with a really good friend of mine called Greg Barker, who taught me a lot about using the mic. I used to do Thursdays with him, and then Fridays with Scott Angry Anderson, who was part of Scott and Leon.
Yeah.
And then I learned a lot more when I went to Dukes, and then I don't know. I was very lucky to. I mean, I remember going to college, DJ on a Thursday night, and you had like 1,000 people in there, and I'd go through college, and people like all recognise me whilst using like the CCAF. You had like a radio thing there as well. You said to do it, and it was like a bit random, But I never. I was loving the attention from the girls at the time, and just living my dream. And then at the same time, sorry, no, back in 1999, I've always had a love for radio. And I wrote to my favourite radio station was Capital FM. My favourite presenter was Dr. Fox. I used to love like him, the Pepsi chart and stuff. And I wrote him a letter asking to come in, and he invited me in one day. And I'll never forget, I was there on like a Thursday afternoon, and Martine McCutcheon rang up because she was number one at the time. And he was just such a nice guy. I was like, I'd love to do this. And then in 2003, I was Capital were doing a like a competition for a radio presenter, and I was in that. So for about a month, I was on every single, I think, Wednesday night with Schoolie, and I went down there. And it's really weird that when someone says, "Oh, what was your first radio station?" I'm like, I started on Capital FM 95.8 back in like years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very fortunate to have done that. And I then met my boss now at Capital. Then I stopped radio because the nightclub career took off. And to play somewhere where you've got 1,000 people in front of you, and like back then it was, they're queuing up by 10:30 to get in.
Yeah.
Duke's was the biggest club in Essex. It had like an 1,800 capacity. It was like huge. To be part of that was just amazing. I was just very, very lucky. And then I've always done DJing. But more like kids' parties, weddings, but not in a big way. And then I pushed that more after I got married in 2018. I've always, like I said, I've always been DJing different things, we're at proms, and I'm very lucky that I still get chosen to do it now somehow at 40 years old. And I love it. Yeah, I just.
Oh, you're a
just love
young
it.
pup. You're still a young pup.
No, mate. No, I'm going grey. It's all going downhill now.
Listen, this is why I cut my hair so short normally and wear hats just to hide it. Listen, I want to go back slightly because you said something about how it all started for you, which really resonated with me because I started with tape cassettes and the Tandy lights, the four in a box
Tandy was
lights.
brilliant. Tandy was better than Maplin.
Yeah, 100%. Tandy was the way forward back then. So I totally get it. What you said and how you sort of became a lover of music really through having the tape cassette. My tape cassette, it was a double tape cassette, and I could actually remove the speakers off the ends of the actual cassette box. So you could actually move the speakers to like a completely different area, so it made you look like big. And then I used to have the lights in between the
the same thing. You have the red and black wire going through, speakers on the table, lights in the middle, and just play everything from cassettes.
And the cassettes that you got either from Woolworths or you
Woolworths was my big thing.
Took from the radio.
You might have borrowed from, I'd say
might have borrowed.
Yeah.
Just for your own personal entertainment.
Cut off the DJ when you can.
Last thing we want is to start incriminating ourselves at this early stage of the podcast, to be honest. So tell me, so once you got into Talk, which is Talk was a very
iconic. It was known
to go. Yeah,
it was called Talk. It was called Tots originally. Talk of the South, opened in 1972. And it was, I think, one of the first nightclubs in the southeast. And it was a dance. It was like a show, like, you mean a gala performance show?
Yeah.
And it was legendary. And to work there under the Manzi family was phenomenal. And it taught me a lot. They were the ones. I remember Brinsley, Lou, who owned it, his son. He was one that always taught me of marketing. He always been saying to me, less is more. So when they did Flies, it was always less is more, and I still stick to that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I had the best nights there. One thing I've got to say though, for the geeks out there might like lighting, we had golden scans, we had Vari lights. The one light that never ever went down on us was the Martin 812 scanners. Do you remember them? They were so fast.
They would. I think you can still. I'm sure
they're still around on eBay. They're probably still working fine now.
Get them. You can still get the Martin lights. They're out there with the yellow logo on them.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh, mate, I was a big fan of. I remember walking through and just seeing how it was all done. I was like a kid in a sweet shop. It was. Yeah. I was very, very lucky.
Yeah.
And at 19, I was asked to do a Thursday night on my own. And Brinsy's like, look, I believe you can do it. I believe in you. So you're doing, like, Greg was away because there was always 2 DJs. He's like, you're doing the night on your own. I was like, okay.
And that would have been CDs at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was CDs, and we used to put. I'd get sent music. We put it onto like a Windows player or something back then, before Apple was big for me. And you then print off your CDs and label them up, so you'd have like R&B or this week's ones, whatever. But it was a party night, so everything went. And I was amazed to hear party songs being played in a nightclub. That threw me. But it was a party night. Then on the Friday it was garage R&B, and Saturday was house. And I just learned a lot from it. I was very lucky, and then to work at Duke's was just amazing.
I mean, I spent pretty much all of my youth in Duke's. Monday night,
Monday. That was a night.
Thursday and Friday. Not so much Saturday, but it was definitely Monday, Thursday, Fridays was. At one point, it was becoming that religious. Like, everyone then started to know my name, like bar staff, staff, everything.
We used to get. So I had to be there 8:30. Opened at 9. And then between 9 and 10:30, I'd be, if it wasn't doing warm-up DJing, we would have, a bit bad now, we had all the music, we had a few different shows, and it was on the screen. So it was all pre-mixed on a video set using a Premiere, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then at 10:30, so we'd all be at the DJ bit, but we'd have to come out, and we'd press the smoke machine, the screen would come down, and it was Duke's Genesis Stab, and it was Duke's Genesis. And when you did that, the laser show came on, and it was amazing. Just a random fact though, the laser show, we had to go upstairs to the roof to turn a tap on to cool the laser down. They had water running through it all night just to cool it down. Nice. And I remember Usher, the music video had the lasers doing this
green one,
and we had that exact one at Duke's, and it was just, it was amazing. Yeah, it was
good times, Duke's. Good. I had some really great memories and good nights at Duke's. It's so in relation to Talk and Duke's then. So what was or best unexpected hero moment for you that at one of those nights something went wrong and you saved the day? There's got to be one. There's got to be something
where I saved the day.
Yeah.
I don't know if quite save the day as such, but it was more, they had Bank Holiday Sunday, and I was asked to DJ Bank Holiday Sunday with my boss Steve at the time, and he had that time, he just had migraine after, it wasn't right, it didn't feel very well, and I had to then just do the whole night on my own. It wasn't planned, and I remember doing it, and then the bosses are like, you smashed that. But what really helped was the atmosphere from the crowd really kept you going. There's a few times I got called in because a DJ was ill, and it just happened that Saturday or whatever I was available.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hard because so I did Talk and Duke's. Then I was offered Sky Bar Sugar Hut. So Sky Bar was in Basildon, and Sugar Hut was Brentwood, owned by the same owner, Chris George McNorcross. And I got that because my mate Gary Smith, legend in the nightclub world, he asked me to DJ their staff party.
I know Gary because I worked at Sam's nightclub in Brentwood.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
There you go.
Right. So Sam's was the nightclub in Brentwood before Sugar Hut. It was Sugar Hut was the White Hart. And Gary was the sort of entertainment manager of Sam's. He used to do Wednesday boogie nights. You had Mark Damon doing the lights, and you had Scott.
Mark. So
Yeah.
we're reminiscing.
We're going off now.
Mark was obviously the light jock, but
That's
he also is his dad owned
Cosmic.
a company that was a DJ shop and lighting shop and everything else, which doesn't exist anymore.
No,
but Mark's still in the trade. I'm led to believe.
Yeah, so Cosmic was in Brentwood.
That's right.
And it was his
Cosmic.
dad Keith and his uncle Malcolm had it.
Yeah.
And I think I got my first mixer from there, which is a Sound Lab mixer from back in the day. And yeah, so Sam's was the club in Brentwood. I didn't work there. I was asked to do the staff party at Sky Bar, which they just took on, and I did that. And that same weekend, I was asked to DJ a brand new nightclub to cover my mate Scott, which is called Eclipse. And that was a club in Brentwood that Sam sold because they sold the property to become a park, like a housing
estate, yeah,
apartments, yeah. And they bought a pub called the Castle, and they turned that into a nightclub called Eclipse.
4 doors down.
Yeah, that's it. And I DJ'd Eclipse on a Saturday night, and I got called in on the Monday to Mick Norcross, God bless him, called me into his office and was like, "We want you on Saturdays here." And I was like, "Okay, I've just been offered Eclipse." He went, "I don't care. We're having you." I was like, "All right."
Yeah.
And I worked there for a few years, and then I left Sky Bar to DJ at Mayhem. Mayhem asked me to join them on a Friday. So I did Thursday Talk, Friday Mayhem, Saturday Sugar Hut. It was Wednesdays. I was very, very lucky that for a while I was just used for so many nightclub gigs. But I've not just been a nightclub DJ. I've been a personality DJ. And with that, I've still always DJ'd birthdays, weddings, parties, anniversaries. But the nightclubs was good because I was very lucky that they paid me decent money. At the time, I remember I bought a house. This is, blimey, 2010, and I was doing 4 nights a week, and I was earning what I earned that week was enough to pay my mortgage for that month.
Nice.
Without sounding big-headed, but that was at the time. That was 2010. There was a lot of nightclubs around, but then obviously things then started. You could see the downward spiral of clubs, sadly, where it weren't getting as busy. And then to sum it up now, I'm the DJ that has closed 5 nightclubs now. That's so bad, isn't it?
Don't take it to heart.
I took it. It was nice because the owners would ring me and be like, we're getting rid of the club. I was like, oh no. Like by that point, some of them I'd left already. Like, we want you to DJ. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, Clips was one. Mayhem was one. I was there on last night at Duke's. And Pop World was probably that was a sad one in Chelmsford. That was legendary.
I flew back
that day. Yeah, I know. You was in. I flew back that day. I was doing the last set, and you was in there doing the afternoon set. Yeah. That was a good. What else did I do? Mayhem, Talk, Eclipse, and Pop. Yeah, I think about 4 or 5. If you got a club closing, let me know.
Yeah,
maybe I'm the one that's making it close.
You're the Grim Reaper of the nightclub.
We'll close them.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so,
okay,
I'm going to ask the question then. So, because we've obviously talked a lot about the club thing, and that's where you sort of you cut your teeth really in the industry from a DJ point of view. So, I'm gonna quote you here: "Club energy with wedding sophistication."
Yeah.
So, talk to me about what that actually means for you in that terms. Because is it about the music? Is it about the mic? Is it about lighting? Is it about attitude? What does that mean? Because you brand yourself against club energy with wedding sophistication.
Yeah, because the thing I found is a lot of people know me that are getting married because they've met at the clubs or they've known me from this or that. And the radio, I'm not going to lie, helps. You broadcast onto 120,000 people a week. That really helps. I'm not going to lie.
For sure.
So people know me from the clubbing background, but I'm a personality DJ. So I'll kind of put my mixing skills and my hosting skills together with a nice, I'd say, your standard wedding setup. I try and get things a little bit different as well at the same time. Like you're always trying to think something outside the box, aren't you? rather than just the bog standard DJ stand. But it's hard to do that because it's got to come from somewhere, hasn't it? So I try and sell myself as being a personality DJ that's come from the clubbing background, but a radio host / entertainer. And I enjoy doing the all-day weddings because you get to know the bride and groom, you get to know the tables, you get to know the people there. Sometimes it's quite scary because they recognise you from years before. And I am very honoured that I get work for doing that. Like on Saturday, I was DJing a high-end wedding in London, and someone recommended me to it. The guy then messaged me on Instagram, and he used to come to Mayhem, where he's the DJ. And he was like, I need you to, and it was a great wedding. Like, it was one of those, something that just go off.
So
it was one of those ones.
So would you say that your work now from a mobile perspective is coming in purely from recommendations and referrals because of the background that you have within the radio? Because you're still on the radio now. You're still doing radio work now. You're still
doing clubs,
maintaining that. You're still doing the small clubs element to it. So do you think that's where you're getting, from a mobile point of view, your referrals coming in?
I think so, yeah, and I think it helps because I'm out there a little bit as well, because I was asked last week to DJ McFly in Chelmsford. I get, it sounds really big-headed though, but I get asked to do a lot of things, I think, because of what I've done in my time. I get to do a lot of festivals. Like last year, to do a lot of stuff at the racecourse was an honour. And then from that, I was asked to do Canvey Fest. So there's a festival in Canvey Island. I asked to DJ that, stuff at Colchester Castle Park. A lot of it is because of people know me from the radio, people know me from the clubs. And I think it helped because there's a lot of connections, a lot of networking. A lot of people might recommend you for this, recommend you for that. So I'm not just someone that just does weddings. I do a lot of events. And I think that helps because people can see you out there a little bit more. Does that make sense? And then people can see,
no, it does. And I think that ultimately comes down to reputation as well, because you've been in the industry in different aspects, whether that's clubbing, not radio, or mobile stuff, or private stuff,
or hosting main events.
Yeah, since 2002, and that speaks a huge volume, because the amount of people that you've come into contact with, realistically.
Yeah, that does help. Yeah, and I've had it before where I've done non-disclosure, so I can't really say, but I've done billionaire parties where someone was at something that they saw me, like I could do, I don't know, Sarah's 40th, and at Sarah's 40th, her friend Kelly is in charge of events for this billionaire, whatever. And it's that, that's what's amazing about it. Yeah.
And what you've sort of said there is actually what I talked about in the podcast last week when I was sat in the pool in jacuzzi in Jamaica. Was when I recorded it, I didn't get the laptop wet. But what I talked about is marketing. You don't know who is going to be at that event that you're doing, whether it is a private event, a corporate event. You don't know who's in that room, so you have to be professional from the outset. You have to, be on top of your game, because that could lead to something big, and that is a prime example of what you've just mentioned there.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we get taught for doing the radio is every time you're doing a show, it's an audition. And I picked up NHS awards the past couple of years now, just because they were driving, heard me on the radio. I was like, oh, he could host. And and they sent a message through to the radio station. The radio station really good. We're like, Marky, this is coming. This is for you. And I was like, oh, sweet. And it was at Stopbrook Manor. I've done that a few times now. And it's just that. It's just from people seeing you out there, hearing you out there. And it helps because I am on the radio. I've done the best, the biggest clubs in Essex, thankfully. Very, very lucky for that. Not just that, I've been on Capital, Radio 2. I'm on 3 radio stations a week as it is at the moment. And, I get asked to host car shows and things, which is I love having my fingers in different pies. Definitely that. I couldn't just be someone that does weddings, because when the wedding season isn't there, I can't sit. I've got ADHD. I can't just sit still. So from that, I was very fortunate that I then started another business, and that's grown, and I've got staff working for it. So I've got different things. It's all entertainment based because I'm a freaking nutter. I'm just an idiot. I'm an idiot. That's what I am. And I enjoy it.
I wouldn't go that
That's
far.
I'm that's what I call it. You know what I mean? Entertainer idiot, but it works. And it works for me and my family. And I try and keep my private life private, because that's what I am at heart sometimes. You know what I mean? I've got my family, my wife and 2 kids, and I try and give them the best life I can. But I'm very lucky that the support I do. And, you know, every Wednesday I'm DJing in Chelmsford for a student night. And that came because someone let them down last year. I was asked to DJ the university, and they had me back every week because of it. And now I love doing the proms and stuff.
Yeah.
But I like keeping busy. That's all it is.
No,
Nothing against anyone else. It's just me personally. I like doing that, whether it's school disco, a kid's party, a wedding, a nightclub, anniversary, a prom. Give me a main stage and a mic and I'll have some fun. That's me, really. You know, that's why I need to come and do some of your silent discos as well, because they look fun.
See, look, any opportunity on a recording to try and pitch himself for a silent disco. I've got a question for you then. So if you had to start again in Essex with 0 reputation, what would you do in the first 30 days?
Start again in Essex with 0 reputation. I mean, I was very fortunate that I reached out to the nightclub and they gave me an opportunity. So I'd guess I'd probably do the same sort of thing again. I'd probably go into, there's not many nightclubs around now. I get that. So I'll probably go to wherever it's quite local or try and get to know the DJ, but not in a bad way, a friendly way. I would try and market myself out there as much as I can, whether it's putting on an event for free and trying to push that. I think that I'd probably just go back to my roots of that's what I did originally. So I'll probably do that again. Networking is a massive thing, because I was lucky that when, if there's a change in a nightclub, I could send a few messages to people I knew, like managers or directors of clubs, and they'd push me to other places. And I was lucky for that. I think because I was a personality DJ. It was, oh yeah, they mix, I don't speak. And no, give me the mic. I'll speak on the mic. And that was the best thing. And when I was asked to do one of my proudest moments, I'm from Billericay. I went to school in Brentwood, but I'm from Billericay, and Billericay is home to the biggest farts display in Essex. And blimey, I was asked, I can't remember how many years ago now, I was asked to DJ, because I was part of Radio Essex. I was asked an opportunity to DJ at the fireworks. I was like, amazing. 20,000 people. They gave me a DJ stand. And I was like, can I have a microphone? They're like, normally they never use a mic, but yeah, of course you can. And I remember getting everyone to put their torch on, waving for something. I've got just a sea of people singing, arms in the air, like the energy on it was amazing. Like, I get those hairs there, the think about that, it's amazing. And Essex police were there, because when the fireworks finished, I had to DJ afterwards, and the crowd dispersal apparently was so good for them. Essex police bigged me up to the round table who host it, because instead of 20,000 people leaving at once, I was trying to keep the audience, and that really helped. And I've been asked to go back ever since. And that was a pinch myself moment, because I used to go there as a kid, and then to be DJing in front of 20,000 people, because that's the biggest audience I've done, was just amazing. And then, you know, to be doing things on the radio, I'm very lucky that I've just continued doing what I've always done, really. You know, what when you do something, like you might do a party, for instance, and someone's got to you, oh, so what's your real job? You're like, this is it. Now, what do you do? What do you do Monday to Friday? No, this is it, mate. This is what I do. Like admin, that's my weekend as well, and stuff. So yeah, I'm just very lucky that and honoured that I've managed to do what I do, and made some great contacts over the years doing it, and working alongside some absolute legends in the industry. And sadly, we lost some legends in the industry as well.
I think it's I think it still worries me that the general public think that DJs are it's a side hustle or a side job, or it's a hobby, or it's part. You know, there is obviously a lot of professional DJs that do it full time, compared to what the average person thinks that there is, obviously, and there is still people, which then brings me into the question that I'm going to pose to you now around pricing. And I'm not asking you to divulge what you go out for, but because of who you are, and the reputation that you've built over the years, and being that celebrity status from a radio presenter point of view, to then doing private events and functions, and being the host with the most, does
Handsome.
do people come in and try and undercut your pricing from a customer point of view, going, oh, I think we can get that cheaper elsewhere? How do you
Yeah.
stay with that?
Yeah, you do get that, and they just sort of ghost you after a while if need be. But I'm fortunate that people want me, but they will pay what I'm asking for. If someone's approaching me, i.e. NHS, and they're saying to me, look, we've only got a budget of X amount of money, would you be interested? I'm happy though, just those discussions. But if someone said, hi, I'm getting married for a wedding, blah, blah, I'll then ask the information and offer evening, all day. And obviously doing the all day ones are the ones that I prefer doing, because you really do get to know the clientele beforehand. And I find that really helps with the reviews. We're lucky. There's a lot of wedding venues in Essex that are really good to us as well. So back to what you said there, the question, I just treated it. Then they're not my clientele. I had it 2 weeks ago. I was asked for a prom, and I quoted the prom and the venue that I've done this prom at for years. Well, can you not do any cheaper? I was, what if you did cash? I said that's my fee. That's what it is, And they're like, oh, okay. I was like, and I lost the gig. Someone else has got it. I know who's got it. And good luck to them. I value myself, and that's what I'm going to be charging for it.
Good. I've said this many occasion on this. Wherever you market yourself is where you market yourself, and if that's not for that person, then so be it. The work will come. It's not drying up, in my opinion. So
no, and as everyone says, there's a lot of work out there for everyone. One thing I do want to say to Matt is last November, because in our job as a DJ, we are the life, the soul, the party. We're energetic, this and that. We're also very lonely. We're the first and sometimes the last to leave. You drive home and you don't really listen to music. You can have things going through your head. It's quite a lonely job. At the end of the night, when you're finished, you're packing up and, one more song. Oh, you're an idiot. I did a Love Island party. They were great all night, as in actual Love Island. And then when I was like, this is my life, I've got to finish now. 12, that's it. There's no more song. Oh, you're I was like, really, mate? Really? Last November, I did hit a bit of a low, and I never had it before, where I just felt really negative and depressed for the day. And I reached out to a couple of people within the industry and radio industry. I won't say who they are, but it was nice that there were people out there to just make you realise, no, it's not that. What I'm trying to say is it's okay not to be okay. And in this industry, I think it is hard to acknowledge that mental health really can affect us. And we are the life and soul of the party. We are the energy, but we're also human beings where sometimes we don't feel that great ourselves. I remember I had it last November. I just felt really low, not because of anything in particular. I just felt low for a few days. And thankfully, I spoke to people and it turned it around. And I just wanted to make a point that, it's within our industry. I think we can be this and be that. But actually, if you need help, there are people to reach out to. I've spoken to you. I've spoken to a lot of people that have been on the podcast and stuff. And I think it's good that there is a community out there, and that there shouldn't be gatekeepers. We all should help each other.
Yeah.
If someone said to me, I wouldn't charge to offer some help to someone. I'm like, yeah, of course. You want to chat? You want this? You want that? That's what I think we really are about.
Yeah, no, I totally agree 100%.
Sound like a preacher, don't I now?
but it needs to be said, and I think we're right. I think it's right that more of us should be saying it. I think sometimes there is still that stigma that people don't address it and don't bring it up, and I'm a great advocate of it. I made it perfectly clear within this podcast and to people that who know me well that I have struggled with depression previously. I saw myself start to move into that again last year. with some stuff that was happening from social media point of view. And I think once you start acknowledging it and you talk about it, you realize it and see the signs a lot quicker to address it rather than not saying anything, not dealing with it, and it just sort of gets on top of people, and then you're in a really difficult place. So no, you are right. You are right. And yeah, reaching out to people and getting them to reach out to you and having conversations.
It's just something I just want to mention because you was one of the people that I did reach out to. And it's nice to have that. And I just thought I'd pass that on to you, the listener who's listened to the podcast, that, you know, if you ever do feel a bit like there's people out there, it's just something that we as an industry, I think should perhaps promote a little bit more. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, no, 100%. Totally agree. Well, I'm going to ask one question here. So what do you think is the most overrated music play that you do at any of your type of events?
Genre or song?
Song.
In a positive or negative way, though?
Well, it's up to you on how you want to answer it.
I found for some reason 2025, even though the song's been out for decades,
yeah,
and it goes down really well, but Cameo Candy is
you were going to say that.
Is the song that I still can't do the dance to now at all. But it just goes off, and it gives what I like with Cameo Candy is it can give you. If you're doing about housey stuff, you can mention, you know, you obviously can't drop it in. I always like to mention it, and from that you can go a little bit disco or a bit old school, but you can go a little bit with it
and different directions with it.
Yeah, but like the amount of proms I did last year, I'm like, these people are like 15, 16 years old. How are they knowing this song? That is one that I find is played at literally every function at the moment, whether it's club, festival, stage. Like I did it at the race course last year for Ladies' Day, and I don't know, there was thousands of people out there, and they all did the candy dance. I was like, this is amazing. I don't have to do it myself, but for a song that's that old, you've still got your classics like Show Me Love, which is just an anthem. But Cameo Candy is the one that gets played at 18th, 13th, I guess, all the weddings, clubs, just anywhere. It just goes up. What about you though? Let's switch that around. What do you find?
In my head, I had that already there. I think the way that I sort of drafted up the question was sort of the most overrated music plays. You span it to a more positive sense, where I was looking at the question and it was more of a negative sense.
Yeah.
What song?
I did ask you, and you did say, but
yeah, I gave you that option. I gave you that option. There was me thinking on the negative side, you thinking on the positive side. But I think I think, yeah, Bruno Mars just comes into my head every time.
Really?
Uptown Funk, just like literally, I just go, oh, it's that at the bit, and I'm just like, oh no, not again. So yeah, that
was a big wedding starter from what 2018, 19, 16, whatever. It was a big song. I can't wait. I'm seeing Bruno Mars in July. I can't wait for it.
Oh, I wish I never said that now.
I can hear what you're saying. That's one thing as a radio presenter. We hear a lot of the same songs, obviously. So people say, what do you listen to? What do you listen to? I'm like, I listen to literally anything, whether it's sometimes musicals, sometimes a talk show, podcast. Yeah. Sometimes you want to get away from what you just heard. So when I finish the gig, I don't like to have music on.
No, you listen to the Groove Junction.
I do normally. That's
exactly what you should be saying.
That's what I normally do listen to on the late night drive.
All right, give me one track that always fills the floor.
Always fills the floor.
Yeah, you're going to say "Show Me Love" now. You've said it, haven't you?
Yeah, but you could go a little bit different, and you could Pitbull Hotel Room Service.
Oh,
that is one that can go off. Actually, a lot of Pitbull, really, Fireball. But I think it's da 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 da. That when they hear that, they're like, "Oh, hang on, that can work well." And I do like playing Flow Rider Low, where you see the dads and the nans trying to get down as low as they can without trying to like break their leg or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about yourself? What about you though?
one track that fills the dance floor. There is always those tracks that you go to that are like go-to ones in your crates. Show
Yeah,
Me Love is definitely on there. Bobby Brown too Can Play That Game is also
Earth,
there.
Wind and Fire September is an
September, that
absolute
is any
anthem. I
Earth,
love
Wind and
that.
Fire
Yeah,
celebration, there's too
Cool in
many
the
to go.
Game.
Cool in the Game. You can pick any of those out.
Yeah.
But
They
yeah,
just don't get old. They don't age. Like they are
no,
just winners.
yeah, absolute
Yeah.
winners. So anyone listening, put it in the comments. Let us know what your go-to one track is. Give me your best tip for handling drunk requests politely, from an Essex point of view.
Yeah. You get it. It's what I really find annoying is when they just come up, don't even bother speaking to you, and they just do that. They just show you a phone.
Yeah.
So I always say, you can speak to me. I'm not a jukebox, or I'll try and flip it sometimes. Or I've had it where someone keeps coming over, they keep coming insistent. So I say, sorry, I'm already married. So I spin it back as a sort of tongue-in-cheek comment, But how to get rid of drunk people? I mean, we always do that. Yeah, in a bit. Yeah, I'll try and sort it. Yeah, I'll try and do. Yeah.
I'll squeeze it in.
Doesn't go right well, or I just blame. Oh, the bride and groom have requested these songs, so I'll try and squeeze it in a bit later. That's probably the best way I try and do it. In the nightclubs, you're quite lucky because you could turn around.
Ignore.
Security could be there.
Yeah.
Most of the time, that's just the phone thing. And you just, or you take the phone and take a selfie or whatever. I won't do what some people do and they change the language. I don't do that.
You're not that person.
No, I'm not that person. No, but I think you try to ignore it as much as possible. What I find really gets on my nerves I really hate is when you announce, right, last song coming up, and you say this is the last song, or you might tease and do one more, knowing you've got another one coming up, and no matter what, one more song. That is the most annoying thing. You're like, right, laptop's gone, lights come on, the venue's put the lights on, and then like more song. You're like, mate, go home. All right, the night's finished. End on a high. That is my biggest pet hate as a DJ, which you don't get in the clubs because lights are on, security clear them out. Same with festivals and all that. The big stage events, I'm lucky for that. But for weddings, that is one of my pet hates. I love bringing families and friends together and playing a song that, not this and ages, and they all get together, whether it could be like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I don't know, the uncle might not know it, but it's just like grooving along because the sun's going, Elton the Scotty, they know the words. I love creating those stories and building the drama where you go up and down. That is what I do love at a wedding. And even to this day now, I get not nervous, but when you do the first dance, you get that anxious, that butterfly feeling still. I get that every single time.
That was literally going to be my next question, in the sense of, do you still get nervous with the wedding scene compared to walking into a club and going into a DJ booth, or
I get more anxious, nervous about DJing at a wedding where you're just when you're building up the dance floor and you got the cake cut and then you got the first dance. For some reason, it always hits me. Yeah, I was working with Van Helden, EZ, like all these amazing DJs in front of thousands of people. But there, I'm like, come on, get me. I want to go for it and hype them up even more. But when you play into like, I could go from, they had Justin Timberlake at the racecourse last year. Sorry, 25,000 people. That was amazing. That your energy's like this, but you could DJ a wedding to like, I don't know, 120 people, and just before you're doing the first dance, you're like, you just get, I don't get it New Year's Eve. For some reason, I get it every New Year's Eve. You get that where your hands start to tingle a little bit, and it's like an anxiousy sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
I totally resonate with everything you just said there. I get nervous around the first dance because at that point you've not really turned the sound system up. You've not, I do it now, but when I first started, I didn't really test the mic that early on, and there was little bits and all these little teething things that you sort of, then I say teething things, you start worrying about them, like, because this is the first time the customers really heard you, and the guests have really heard you, so you've got to really try and stand out. And it's that, so that still sits with me a little bit now, but New Year's Eve in particular, and the timings before, because it's obviously it's slightly out on our phones and our
Is
laptops.
it?
Yeah, it's like a couple of seconds out.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
but, but yeah, so it's slightly out, but because of GPS and signals and other bits and pieces. So it's just I'm quite, I want it to be
Dead
bang
on.
on. And I think
Yeah.
probably from a radio point of view, when you're having to go
Timing
to
out.
breaks, going to news
News.
and all that sort of stuff, you've got to be really tight on your timing. So that doesn't really come natural for me, because the only one time a year that I really have to do it is at midnight. If you slip over a minute at a wedding and it finishes at 12:01, fine, not an
Yeah.
issue. But like for the old chimes and other bits and pieces,
Yeah, it's I don't know, you do I always feel the pressure for New Year's Eve, and I always try and have a mix done for that point, that is done beforehand professionally in my studio, and even, yes, I'm reading the dance floor, of course I am. It's not working, I'll switch it out and around, but I know it's gonna be anthems that are gonna work where I've booked to play,
yeah,
and I always make sure it's done. So I've got 11:55, I press play. Doesn't mean I've got to play it out on the speakers,
yeah,
but I'm timed to that perfect moment. And
yeah.
I always feel at New Year's Eve. One thing I did have though, as perhaps a worse story,
Oh,
was DJing. Not it was all right in the end, but my God, my heart went. I was DJing at Braxton Park, and I was doing an all-day ceremony. I had to do the music for the aisle when they walked down the aisle. It was an outdoor ceremony, and I got Serato on my laptop. Everything was ready to go, and had a radio. Yep, it's in position. I thought, brilliant. Press space bar because it should come for a speaker, and all 3 tracks went suddenly orange. I was like, "My God, oh my God, they're there." I had my phone with me, and thankfully I had like a backup. I had their wedding playlist on my phone, plugged it in and played it. And I remember thinking, I hope to God, because I didn't have time to switch off my airplane mode, no one rings me.
yeah.
And that was the only time I ever had I've had it before, like equipment's gone or this or that. I've always got backup anyway, but
Panic
that was
mode.
one moment I was a bit like, oh my God, like, wow. So I always, the way I'm doing first dance now, I always play it on my MacBook and then have my phone or the iPad next.
Yeah,
It's not great. I've heard of DJs before, and if it does go and you say you're using your MacBook, it does go, okay, you just, oh, sorry, let's restart that. You'd make something of it, but you're always trying to have a backup. But that's one thing I did have, was where, yeah, I don't know why, it just, the songs just so, and when I went back, reload it, they were there. I'm like, really?
yeah,
That's one thing that I did have a few years ago, and I was like, oh wow, like, it just made me realize that this is why I should always definitely plan things, which I assume every DJ is doing anyway. Everyone's got a
yeah.
backup nowadays, haven't they? You know?
We like to think they have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
try.
there is that. Go on then. So what's next for you for the remainder of this year? I say remainder of this year. We're coming into the summer, but
So for me, for this year, my big thing is pushing myself out there a bit more. And I've got some meetings happening in November in America where I really want to make the connections there. And hopefully my dream, if you ask me in 5 years' time, where do you want to be? I'm going to be doing some stuff in America.
well, let's
Be
not go
be
5 years. Let's go 2027.
2027, still pushing myself. If I can do that, I will. I'm very lucky the radio stations I'm on. I love doing that. Would I want to do any more? Probably not, because it does take up a lot of time. I'm in Peterborough every Monday to Friday. I'm in Essex every weekend. I'm on another one every weekend. So probably wouldn't be more of that. Be more. I love doing the festivals. I love doing the big events. So if I can get some of those a bit more, I'd love that. I did Essex Pride last year for the first time. That was amazing. Not gonna lie, it was good fun. Everyone was really happy, really friendly. So probably doing more big scale events for me. I love that. I love the weddings. I still do the weddings, but the big scale events I love the big stages. That sounds arrogant,
Don't we
but
all?
just,
Don't we all?
yeah. Yeah, and I think that's for me, probably that. And then I'd imagine DJing some amazing silent discos with someone I know. I think that'll be cool to smash that, just
Okay.
to show them what my energy's like. And that's another thing. When you DJ, this the other day, when they give you the food, it's lovely, but it's small portions.
Yes.
My go-to sometimes is a little bit of sweeties, I had jelly babies the other day. When was the last time you had that?
So I will, if people have seen some of my stories and reels on my Instagram page, you will always notice on the table or desk next to my
Haribo.
controller will be the Haribos.
Yeah.
Are always there. So yes, I'm a Haribo, and I will go for a pack or two of those quite
I
easily.
wonder what is the most popular DJ's choice of sweets, and I reckon Haribo is going to be in there. Again, they could leave comments. I think it's just, I reckon.
Let's open it up. Let's ask the question.
You just need it sometimes, and I've always got chewing gums with me. Always got chewing gums.
Put it in the comments. Tell me what your favorite, or tell us what your favorite go-to sweet is, or snack. Let's go snack. What your go-to snack is for when you're at a gig. Nice. Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
Probably a lot more that we could have talked about, and probably will do in the future, no doubt, when you come back on.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I'll be up for it. Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Well, thanks for coming on, and we'll have you back anytime you want.
Take care, mate. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, mate. So, Marky T, that's it. We've learnt so much tonight. And he took me back down memory lane in a few of the nightclubs in Essex that I used to frequent. Slightly before when he started DJing there, because I'm a little bit older. But yes, it was a good little chat with Marky T, and no doubt we'll get him on in the future. If you want to be a guest on the Groove Junction, just drop me a message. You want to get on here, have a chat, talk about things in the DJ world, you're more than welcome. So, thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, we are here same time every week on a Friday when the podcast drops. We will see you same time, same place here on the Groove Junction.